For the past few years now, we've been told by Democrats, by the media, by academics, by pretty much anybody out there in polite society that Donald Trump is the worst thing ever. He's got to go. All his decisions are awful. There's got to be a better way. And then we learn these past few days after watching the two installments of the Democratic debates that, well, is there a better way? Do you have any ideas? And what on earth are you proposing? It was really something to see these, 20 candidates. I guess there were 24 of them. Only 20 of them made the cut. They get up there and they are selling their vision for America, for why they should be the Democratic presidential nominee, why they should be the next president, the next leader of the free world. And you would think, because I'm sure all these people have had the past few years to be involved in their Trump derangement syndrome, to think about how terrible and awful Donald Trump was, you would think they would have a pretty good argument as to why they should be president. What should be done? What needs to happen next to save America from whatever awful they say has befallen it since Trump has become president? Did we actually see that, though? I mean, wow, it was something for those of us who suffered through watching these debates to watch this group of people who, well, to give it a Canadian context, I mean, they made the NDP look pretty centrist, perhaps even right-wing in some respects. There was a time when the Democratic Party in the United States used to be considered a little bit right to Canada's Liberal Party. I mean, I have some friends, some far-left friends in the United States, who they say they would never vote for Hillary Clinton because she's too right-wing. That was the view people had a decade ago when she was first challenging Barack Obama. That was then, this is now. The stuff we saw on that debate stage, the stuff they're talking about, it takes them from to the right of Canadians' Liberals to the left of the NDP. The stuff that they were fixating on, largely focusing along illegal immigration, talking about, will they actually just let people cross over? They will stop it from being a major crime, instead something you write a ticket for, a fine, a minor offense. All of them raising their hands, yes. Would you expand broader health care to all of these people crossing illegally, even though not every American necessarily has that type of health care? Yes, they all raised their hand for all of that. I mean, wow. Talk about strange stuff. And they were asked, what's the greatest threat to the world today, China or Russia? Anyone who's been paying attention to the geopolitical scene for the past year or so knows the answer is China. I mean, you just look at their growth compared to the fact the Russian economy and other aspects of Russia is not growing, it's stagnating or atrophying. You don't answer Russia. They're all saying Russia. Why? Because of some hacking during the 2016 election. I mean, these are people who are really kind of stuck in the past, but in a very odd way. Still thinking they're fighting last time's election back in 2016, but with these very, very, I don't even know if I want to call them progressive views. This pretty much embracing of open borders. The bottom line, and I think the big challenge for them, is Donald Trump, whatever you think of his personality and makes the crass tweets and comments, on many issues, he's ultimately right on things like, no, you can't cross the border illegally, and yes, you have to stand during the national anthem, something that we're told in school and we get sent to the principal's office if we don't do it. Is his delivery a bit rough and tumble? You better believe it is. But in the essence of things, the core of things, he's more or less striking the right notes. And I think a lot of Americans know that. Whereas what you're hearing from these Democrats, the sort of obsession with how everything has to be about embracing people who do illegal immigration or embracing climate alarmism, this crazy Green New Deal thing. I mean, this is just stuff that isn't going to set well with regular people. So this has been the conversation that the Democrats have been having, and I think it's emblematic of the broader left in general. Do they go far left to say, look how much of a contrast we are in a choice to try and race each other in that direction? Or do they offer moderate, sensible, sane, centrist responses as their approach to shoring up victory here? And that's the question they're facing, and I think the question that the left is facing everywhere, because they're victories of their own successes. All of these things they've been asking for in recent decades, pushing for, expansions of government and more, for the most part, they've gotten it, and conservatives ceded the ground to them. So now they've been victorious. What do? Do they try and be stakeholders of the society they built? Or do they keep trying to do more and more government emboldening stuff, wacky progressive stuff that gets you to the point where you're de facto open border supporters and you want this Green New Deal thing, which is just absolutely wild. Lots of questions, lots of soul searching ahead for, yes, the Democrats in the United States and really for the left everywhere.